India has registered 1.32 million new cases and more than 2,700 deaths in the last 24 hours. That according to the Union Health Ministry. Now, earlier we were able to talk to His Excellency Ramon Bagatsing Jr., the ambassador of the Philippines to India and Nepal regarding the current situation there. Let's listen in.
Ambassador, the last time we talked, pababa na po yung cases hindi po ba? It was going well already, and then suddenly after we talked, there was a sudden explosion of cases there in India. Can you give us a clear picture now on what is happening in India, Mr. Ambassador?
Yes, well, right now, the cases have gone down since about 10 days ago. So from a high of 414,000 a day, we're now down to about 130,000 a day. And in terms of deaths, from a high of about 5,000, we're down to about 2,500 a day. And here in Delhi, where the embassy is located, before we had a high of about 26,000 cases a day. Now it's down to about 450. So very drastic was the decrease, for the last 10 days. But this was also the result of very, very strict lockdowns. And this time people were complying with all the restrictions, the COVID restrictions and the COVID protocols. So that's one main factor that they attribute to the decrease of the cases now of COVID here in Delhi, in particular, in India in general.
Sir, can you tell us what was the cause of what happened in the past few days with the explosion of cases? Ano po ang nangyari? Was it because recently there was a super spreader event, that one with the religious festival where they were gathering in the river? Was that one of those events that contributed to this explosion of cases? And what is your take on this, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, from what I read in the papers and what has been discussed here, there are two factors involved, the behavioral and the biological. Behavioral, as what you said, because of all these gatherings, social, political, religious, cultural gatherings, when the cases went down December, January, people eased up. Okay, and at the same time, so they had all these gatherings, which, as what you said, are super spreaders. Secondly, the biological factor. Apparently, the scientists have found out that we have this double mutant variant, this P1617 variant, or they call the Indian variant, which was more lethal. So that's the biological factor that they did not consider. So you combine these two, behavioral and biological, and there you have the very drastic, sudden, swift, and dramatic and sad events of increases in COVID cases.
Also, we also saw in the news, of course, that was all over the news, the lack of oxygen in hospitals, ICU beds or hospital beds. Can we ask how is the situation right now in India with regards to this?
Well, things are much, much better now. I think the health services were completely overwhelmed by the resurgence of all these cases. But now, as I said, the past 10 days, because of the strict lockdown and compliance of the people with all the COVID protocols, it has eased up. So we don't have the problem anymore of lack of hospital beds, and we don't have the problem anymore of lack of oxygen tanks and concentrators. So it has eased up quite a lot.
The vaccination rollout, Mr. Ambassador, syempre we have mag-iisip din yung mga tao because the Serum Institute of India is right there. Pero do you think the vaccination rollout has not been that successful? Can you tell us more?
Well, again, as I said, because of the slowdown, November, December, January, February, government thought that they were over the hump. And the people also thought that they were over the hump. So they just took it easy. And there weren't too many people taking advantage of this free or minimal expense vaccine. But now they have they've been very aggressive. No, they've had already about 224 million cases of vaccine rollouts, and they're very aggressive now, and a lot of people are taking advantage of this. So about 15% of the population now have the vaccines, and the government has provided funding for all these manufacturers of vaccine, both Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech, to ramp up production, to double their production. And I believe, based on the newspaper reports, that they have enough vaccines up to the end of the year. And the beautiful part about this, when they saw that they didn't have enough, is that they opened up. They expediently approved vaccines manufactured outside of India. So in a matter of 3-4 days, anything that has to do with COVID treatment, COVID relief, vaccines, 2-3 days they approved. All the regulatory requirements were waived. So if you have a vaccine that is already approved and being administered in the Western countries, US, UK, Europe, Japan, the Indian government just approved it, and it's now being given to the different constituencies.
Kumusta naman po ang ating mga kababayan po dyan?
Well, from the very sad stories we gave last month, now we have very good, happy stories, because aside from the 3 that passed away last month, and then 73 who contracted the virus, now all of them are healed. So we don't have any more deaths, and the good news is that all of them got healed. So we're okay now, and no new cases. So that's the good part.
That's good. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin po ba ang repatriation of Filipinos there? Or was there a repatriation or anything like that? Or because I know the borders are closed or flights are but I don't know if you have repatriated some Filipinos recently.
That's the difficult part, because even if we don't have a travel ban, which we do, there is a de facto travel ban, because we don't have direct flights from India to the Philippines, and all flights pass through the Middle East or Hong Kong or Thailand, and all these transit areas have travel bans on flights coming from India. So you can't take a commercial plane out of India going to the Philippines. Because of that, there are no repatriation flights. Although we are still working on it, the option is still there. With instructions from Manila, from the FA, from the president, that as soon as the situation improves, let's prepare and let's schedule repat flights. So we are still working on that when the situation improves.
And you said that the vaccination rollout has already improved. Mas okay na po tayo ngayon. Kumusta naman po ang vaccination ng mga Filipinos po dyan?
Okay. The Indian government provides vaccines for all. The government provides vaccines for all, whether you're a resident, a citizen, or a tourist, or a foreigner. Okay? So even the Filipinos now, they just show an ID and they pay whatever is the rate based on whether they are going to a private hospital or a public hospital. They pay and they get the vaccine. When I took my vaccine, that was April, it was only 250 rupees.
Equivalent to?
That's about 180 pesos.
Oh,
okay. Pero ngayon, they had to do it on a commercial level, no? So one brand is 1,100 rupees, or about 780 pesos, and the other brand is 1,500 rupees. So less 25-30%, no, depending on the currency exchange. So that's about it. Less than, I don't know, 1,200 pesos. You know. But it's not expensive. But this is heavily subsidized by the state. Heavily subsidized by the state.
Yung pong ating mga Pilipino dyan, syempre po, like in other countries, nagtutulungan po sila, like may mga pantries or may mga ano po. Dyan po, paano po ba nagtutulungan ng ating mga kababayan dyan, ng ating Filipino community?
Dito, Alma, we only have about 3,000 Filipinos. No? This is a moving target. No? May mga nakakahuwi, pero ngayon wala naman nakakarating. So of the 3,000 Filipinos, 80% are housewives. But some of these housewives are professionals, they're working also. And only about 20% are OFWs. So the housewives, I mean it as a compliment. Laki ng utang na loob namin. We owe a lot to the Filipino community here. They help each other out. They are our link. We have chat groups wherein any Filipina or Filipino who wants help gets into the chat group. Our emails are open; they can email us anytime, and we work it out with them on how we can help each other, and we are doing that right now, and we have gone out and helped a lot with the help sa tulong ng Filipino community. But we have restrictions because of the lockdown. We cannot move. They're very, very strict here. So we just have to use the existing networks of the Filipino community who have been here for a long time. And that's how we go about doing things.
Sa healthcare sector naman po, meron po ba tayong mga Pilipino na nasa healthcare sector dyan? And kumusta naman po sila?
Wala eh. Wala
Wala.
tayong mga doctors and nurses dito. Although the head of the WHO here in India is Filipino, and we're very proud of that. Imagine the head of the WHO of India is a Filipino. So he has been a guiding light and a guiding force for us in providing professional advice and help on how to go about doing things.
Yung mga naapektuhan po ng COVID dati, pero mabuti naman at magaling na po sila ngayon. Has the government given them help?
Yes, we wrote to DFA and we asked for help. And the DFA has generously provided, Secretary Locsin said, whatever the Philippine Embassy in India needs, whatever the Filipino community in India needs, go and give it to them. And so we're working it out now. Those that were really severely affected before, those that were hospitalized, we were able to provide financial assistance. No? And those that were in the hospital, we were also been able to help them. Those who got stranded and they have no means to provide for their meals, etc. We're working out a mechanism whereby the assistance can be given to them because India is so huge. Malaki masyadong India.
Yes.
And there are some places that when there are no Indians, so we have to find a mechanism whereby whatever help and assistance we can provide will reach. So, and there are areas na very strict ang lockdown. So hopefully by next week the lockdown will be lifted, so we can make it easier for us to give them the assistance that they. I think from the last week of April up to this week there is a lockdown. So this is our 6th straight week na naka-lockdown. So hopefully next week we'll see what happens because the numbers are down. Maybe they will lift the lockdown.
See, how is our consular services, Mr. Ambassador, with the lockdown and all?
We have to close it. We have to close the embassy. Yeah, since the whole month of May up to now, we have to follow the lockdown rules of the Delhi government.
How is the economy, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, syempre, they're doing their best. Like other countries na tinamaan ng gusto, they're doing their best to revive or to boost the economy. Kasi syempre yan is between lives and livelihood. The moment you have a lockdown, apektado ang trabaho, ang buhay, di makakilos sa mga tao. So in spite of the odds and the difficulties, I believe that they will be able to jumpstart and pick up again so far as the economy is concerned.
Meron po ba tayong emergency or triage plan for Filipinos in case there are disasters, calamities, sudden surge of diseases?
Yes, we had. The DFA has an evacuation program. So you just tweak it depending on which country you're in and what the problems are, whether it's a natural disaster or it's a war or a calamity, or in this case, a virus, a pandemic outbreak. So there are such evacuation plans. So it's just a matter of adjusting it and tweaking it. And we, in coordination with our defense attaché here, like what we did last year, there was a ship that was docked somewhere in the Middle East, and that they were on their way home to the Philippines. So we requested them, can you pass by India and pick up some of these stranded Filipinos? And this is what happened last year. No? We were very fortunate that the Philippine Navy was able to help. So the same thing here right now. Evacuation, repat flights. It's in the drawing board. When things improve, when the travel ban is lifted, we have directory of all the Filipinos that are stranded here. So it's just a matter of getting in touch with them and telling them, come here to Delhi, and there's a flight on this day.
Mhm.
So there is such a contingency plan in place. It's just a matter of when it can be done.
Mhm. You also have, Mr. Ambassador, jurisdiction over Nepal.
Yes, ma'am. Also very interested.
Mr. Ambassador, yes. And I have to ask, are there any Filipinos? We have Filipinos there. How many Filipinos do we have there? And how are they po?
Yeah, we have about, again, this is a moving number, about 150. So not too many. But Nepal is really also bad. And I feel for them because they're isolated in terms of not too many flights. And the health facilities also is being tested at this stage. No? So far, not too many Filipinos are affected, adversely affected there. We are in communication with them. We don't have any sad story or may na seryosong tinamaan ng COVID o binamatay. So that's the good news. And then again, the repatriation. So some inquiries on paano sila makakauwi. And of course, also no flights from Nepal. So if ever they have to fly from Nepal to India, and if there are no flights Nepal to India, that makes it doubly worse. No? So that's just the situation on the ground. But the good thing is that we don't have negative stories about Filipinos in Nepal.
That's very good. Mr. Ambassador, your message to everyone watching you right now.
Well, thank you very much, Alma, and to Eagle Broadcasting for inviting me for this interview. All I can say is that with the help of our President and Secretary Locsin and the DFA, we're doing our level best to make sure that all the Filipinos' needs and requirements are met. And we thank also the Filipino community. They have been doing a fantastic job. Without them, I guess like any other Filipino community anywhere in the world, it would be extremely difficult for the embassy to be doing its job. And my staff, my God, we've been encountering a lot of difficult personal issues here. But thank God we're all okay. So don't worry. To the Filipinos who have relatives and friends here in India, we're doing our level best to take care of them. And as soon as possible time that we can fly them home safely, we will do it right away. Yun lang po. Thank you very much. Namaste at mabuhay po kayo lahat.
Namaste. Until we speak again, hopefully you will bring us good and improving news again when we speak to each other again. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you very much, Papa.